Hello, welcome. Today we will talk about why the sixth house is worth discussing, or why this discussion is so important. Because it is a bit of a confusing house. When we talk about Lagan lot, there is no second opinion that one's Lagan lot should always be strong. To have a good quality chart, the sixth lord can be afflicted in the 8th, 12th, or 6th house, creating a challenging Rajoga. With the 6th house, it is also said that it is the house of our daily struggles or daily routines. It talks about our wellness and our diseases. With the 6th house, it is also said that it is the house of our daily struggles or daily routines. This talks about our wellness, it talks about our diseases. Two things are said. This is our service giving ability. However, we navigate through life, daily routine is just how we navigate. So, how we navigate through life is also related to the sixth house. It tells us, and most importantly, it talks about our fighting ability and resilience. Long term diseases. So, this house has been given a very contradictory role. When natural benefic planets are placed in this house, it is said to be very good because it will destroy enemies, it will provide courage. And if a planet like Jupiter, which is a natural benefic, sits here, so it is said that you will gain wisdom to fight against your enemies. If any disease or problem arises, the Joker will serve as a guard. So here, the natural benefics are good, the malefics are good, the house is either good or bad. When houses are categorized, as we say that the three houses, the 12th involve the 6th house in the bad houses. The three Shodai houses, 3, 6, 11, the 6th house is also involved in that. So it seems like the 6th house is a problem house. This is the child who is mischievous. When he does something, he gets involved in problem giving areas. And when we categorize the houses, that is, in the record, the 6th house becomes very important. It supports our services, career, and finances. So, actually, is the house good or bad? A challenging Rajoga has formed, so be happy, or the daily routine has gone bad, so it's not that great. Let's talk about all these things. So, let's get started. The 6th house has a dual nature. Where we say it gives us decisions, debts, enemies, or daily struggles. It can be related to money, health, competition, enmity, court cases, or anything else. And that's what we say. This is our house of resilience, meaning that it's not just about how we confront our external enemies, but also how we deal with our internal enemies and how victoriously we can face challenges. How much resilience is there? How much fighting back ability is there? So, in this regard, it is very important for this house and the house lord to be strong. When it comes to diseases, it doesn't just stop at the 6th house. The 3rd, 6th, and 11th houses. Why are they all important? The 11th, because it involves the 6th, and the 3rd, because it involves the ascendant. All these houses and their lords become problem givers when they are involved in any malefic combination. Because the 6th house is involved, and the 3rd house is involved because it is the ascendant. All these houses and their lords become problem givers when they are involved in any malefic combination. Now, Badakesh also says that yes, I will support all of you. For those with a fixed rising sign, Badakesh becomes the 9th house. It became the 9th lord, so we never consider the 9th house to be bad. So it can be seen that Badakesh shouldn't be a problem. In movable signs, Badakesh is the 11th lord. It carries Saturn's energy, considered negative. In dual signs, Badakesh is the 9th lord, always a benefic planet like Mercury or Jupiter. Badakesh won't cause problems with support. In dual signs, Badakesh, 9s are loaded and they will always be benefit planets or Mercury. If they are Peter, then they also have importance of being natural benefit. Badkesh will not create any problem until he gets support. It won't just get up and say, yes, yes, let's create some commotion. When it gets support from malefic planets, especially when it gets support from the 6th house, or when it has access to Rahu and Ketu, or when any problems arise in these houses, then Badakesh says, yes, now let's create some trouble. Then they say a complete yes. You must have seen many ascendants. Where Badakesh comes into the ascendant and goes downwards, they become weak. When they enter the houses of the ascendant, Scorpio rising weakens the 9th lord, Libra rising weakens the 11th lord, Badakesh signals diseases. If we talk about Libra rising, the 11th lord will come into the ascendant and become debilitated. So these are the kinds of situations where the involvement of Badakish will indicate diseases. Because when we talk about diseases, why are we placing all the blame solely on the sixth house? And since we are talking about diseases, it's not just the sixth house. Any house that is experiencing multiple afflictions will have its significator going through multiple times. The concerned area, the body parts, the houses, and the signs should also be in our minds as they can come into trouble. Later, when we talk about residence and strength, having the sixth lord in strength is always a good thing because we are saying that it represents our fighting ability. But whenever there is a comparison between the first and the sixth house, having the first house be stronger than the sixth is always a better case, especially when the sixth house is the enemy of the ascendant. If it's a strong friend, it's not bad, but a strong enemy is not good. Moving forward, natural malefics and benefics should be present. A strong enemy is not good. If a natural malefic is in the sixth house, it destroys enemies, provides fighting ability, and helps win competition. Now let's assume that if a natural malefic is in the sixth house, it will destroy the enemies. It will give you fighting ability and will help you win competitions. Okay? Accusations. Accusations. If a natural malefic is sitting in the sixth house, and affecting the ascendant, then this is definitely not a good situation, especially if Mars is in the sixth house and it is not a friend of the ascendant. We are looking at the ascendant like this. Now, we can't just say that having Mars in the sixth house is a good thing. They are giving you competitiveness, which is a different matter, but they are affecting the ascendant. Similarly, if Saturn is placed in the sixth house and our ascendant lord is in the 12th house, the malefic Saturn is affecting the ascendant and the ascendant lord, especially if the enemy comes there. We also need to remember that in the sixth house, even natural malefic planets should not be in their debilitation or enemy signs. If they are in their debilitation or enemy signs, this means that they are not benefiting the sixth house, they are weakening it. And let's take one more case. Let's say Saturn and Mars are in the sixth house, then seeing two malefics there should make me happy. With my ascendant, having two malefics in the sixth house will give me courage and help me win in competition. But I must not forget that having two malefic planets in the first house is not good for my maternal uncle's side, for my mother's siblings. Due to my hard work, two fares are fixed in the sixth. He will provide the car and will help me win the competition there. But I should not forget that the police in two malefic planet one house is not good for my maternal uncle's side, my mother's siblings. I am winning court cases, which is bad for my enemies. That's a good thing. Two malefic planets are in conflict, which is getting disturbed because there are two malefic planets sitting there and they have enmity with each other. One deck is becoming very weak. For example, if Mars is afflicted by Saturn in the sixth house, I will remain concerned about potential problems. I worry about issues like my brother facing problems, property disputes, or diseases if Mars is afflicted. That concerned person in my life, like if Mars is afflicted, then my brother might face some issues. There could be a property related dispute, or there might be some disease that could arise. And I need to take into consideration the lordship of Mars. Then we say that natural benefics are very good, especially if Jupiter is placed, it provides protection regarding diseases against. It's absolutely true that if Jupiter or Venus is placed, what happens is that usually we won't have any enemies because we don't want to get into fights. It's just not in our nature. But remember, if a natural benefic is selected after being placed there, it is very bad for its natural significations for that planet. Even houses, the planet becomes strong by reading weak, and we should definitely pay attention to its lordship and natural significations. After discussing the sixth house, we talk about the sixth lord. It's a very good thing for the sixth lord to gain strength, provided that the ascendant lord is not stronger than the Lagna lord, especially if they are in good yogas and are friends with the ascendant lord. They will provide us with college and residence. But if it is associated with the 8th or 12th lord and is involved in bad yogas, then they will say no. Now we will keep the person in a continuous loop of problems. We will give you one after the other. Let us understand with one example. When I said that the low planet is not good in the sixth house, it is not good for its significance. And in this case, we will also say that an opposite Raj Yoga is being formed because my 12th Lord is flipping with a weak sun in the sixth house, and it is also far from Digbala. So there are many reasons to say that Mercury is getting weak. When Jupiter and Mercury are in a debilitation, I am more concerned about the sixth house than Mercury's welfare. Now, what is happening is that in my sixth house, there is a debilitated planet along with the sun, which is the 11th Lord, and Jupiter is aspecting its own house. So my attention will go towards the natural significations of Mercury, especially the body parts related to the 9th and 12th houses, particularly the area of the intestines and feet, which could all be problematic. Jupiter's aspect on its own house will give me fighting ability. That's the work of Jupiter. But there could be a cycle of recurring problems. Let's understand this with an example. In this case, the ascendant and the sixth lord are the same, which is Venus. So it becomes very important for Venus to gain strength for our well-being, for a disease-free body, and overall, what is happening here is that Venus is indeed in Digbala, but it is with two natural malefic planets in an enemy sign, and Mars's lordship is also not very good, and the association is not good either. The ascendant lord has weakened, which is the sixth lord. The moon and Jupiter are aspecting the sixth house. Both are natural benefic planets, but not to forget that Jupiter is the 11th lord and the moon is the third lord. So, in this case, Jupiter and the moon will provide protection, but they will remember their lordship that we don't have much good to do here. The weakening of the ascendant lord and the sixth lord led to a situation where, when their main period of Mars started, they were diagnosed with lung cancer. What we are talking about is that the multiple afflictions of the first house's lord can also contribute to diseases, especially in the case of the ascendant lord and the sixth lord. So, in these cases, the weakening of my sixth lord and being involved in a bad yoga led to problems there. Let's take a court case where we will again talk about the process of terrorizing. Here you can see that one exalted Venus is sitting in the sixth house. Venus is generally unfavorable in the sixth, eighth, and 12th houses due to its role in recurring problems. However, having an exalted planet and the chart significator in the sixth house is beneficial. My ascendant and sixth lords are exalted in the 11th house, even with Mars. This strengthens the ascendant, making any arising problems, like termination and rising, manageable. The exaltation of the ascendant lord indicates a strong drive to achieve, enhancing the strength of both the ascendant and sixth lord. But still, in this case, what happens is that when it comes to respecting the ascendant, whatever problems arise, like termination and rising to the top, are so strong that the exaltation of the ascendant lord also shows that they need to do what they have to do. She wants to achieve everything, and she feels that she can do anything, which makes both the ascendant and sixth lords strong together. So there you get this benefit. In this case, you can see that the slammer is in the sixth house, but it is expecting the ascendant back. In that regard, we should forget about it. Our ascendant is very strong, and our sixth lord is also exalted, placed in its own house. So now, how do I handle this situation? Whether good or bad people, and notifications say that my sixth lord is my enemy. What is happening with them? Since the time period of Mercury has started, there has been a court case regarding the property with my brother. Their position is very, very easy to figure out from this chart. Even a beginner can figure out where the fourth lord is placed. Lagan lot day with 6 lots is in bold. The significator, property is in the and all that, and multiple planar sign, categories that don't let things go too easily. So that court case has been going on for so long, it has been going on for so long because you are also not giving up. Because your sixth lord is so strong and retrograde, and the opposing party, your brother, is just as strong. He will not let you touch the property easily. If we talk a bit about the fourth, regarding the brother's property, it falls in the sixth house, and Mercury itself is there, and your property is represented by the moon. Mercury is in between Mars and the moon, you won't easily get the property, even if the sixth house is very strong. And you are yourself getting into conflict and trouble in the sixth house. When Mars and Mercury are associated, Mars has a more agitated feeling because Mars has more problems with Mercury. Mercury doesn't have much of a problem with Mars. If it expects from its own house back from the sixth house, then there's no issue in this case. In this, the ascendant lord is in the 12th house, along with the debilitated sixth lord, who is not a friend. Now, how should I look at this? The ascendant lord is being weakened by the sixth lord. In this, the Lagna is in Lord 12th, with the low six lots, who are not their friends. Now, how should I look at this? That the ascendant lord is being weakened by the sixth lord. I should say that my ascendant is in the 12th house with a debilitated planet. So what has happened with them? Although Jupiter aspects Mars, which is very good for my ascendant, as my name is aspected, Mars has its lordship, and often Jupiter's lordship is also in the 12th house. So what has happened with them? Jupiter aspects Mars, which helps my ascendant. Mars and Jupiter often have lordship in the 12th house. This chart illustrates how a planet with a bad second lordship can influence outcomes. The issue is linked to Mercury, causing skin or intestinal problems. If the first house lord enters the 12th house, issues arise. The 7th house and its lord are aspected by Saturn. Venus and the moon, my significators, are negatively affected, and water is a factor. This is very good chart to understand how things get twisted. When one planet becomes a factor, and his second lordship is not good, and he is giving more fruits to his second lordship. So, in this case, what happened is that the problem they have is related to Mercury, whether you call it a skin problem or an intestinal issue. And I also told you that if any first house lord continuously goes into the 12th house, then related problems also arise. Now, look at this. The 7th house is being aspected by Saturn, and the lord is also being aspected by Saturn. Venus is badly signifying, and the moon is also involved, both of which are my significators, and water is also being selected. So they have uterus-related problems and gynecological issues as well. When we talk about diseases, we shouldn't blame everything on the 6th house. So the whole idea we have to understand is that the whole chart before has been messed up by the 6th and 4th houses. I had mentioned the issue of the Lord of Obstacles. In resizing, who becomes the Lord of Obstacles? It's Saturn. With whom is its association? Rahu has occurred in the second axis, which adds to the problem. In this case, you see that the ascendant Lord is in the 12th house, but it is in a good sign. The ascendant is being respected by Jupiter, which is a significator planet, but still in good dignity. The aspect from the moon to the ascendant is good. We mentioned that the natural benefic planets in the 6th house are favorable. So moon's placement here should have been considered good. The benefit comes to protection, but the moon is a very sister planet. It is sitting in the 6th house and is under the aspect of Saturn. I can't forget that the moon is becoming weak. After its transit, it is in a malefic position. My 6th lord is also getting afflicted in the 8th house, not just the 9th lord, but my 5th lord as well. My most benefic planet, my significator planet, is getting afflicted in the sign of the sun, along with the sun, and the moon is also afflicted. Your 6th lord's position will be your friend. A glorified statement is being made. You are fighting back, but it will cost you. The affliction of the moon leads to depressive tendencies, and that's what she is facing. Ascendant Lord weak, debilitated by 9th Lord. He is of the low caste in the 12th. Who is destroying him? His Night Lord is doing it. His friend is doing it. The 12th house has 2 benefic planets. My exalted 6th Lord suggests wellness. Thank you. When we talk about the trine, we consider it good when the Lord of the 2nd house comes into the 10th house, which relates to career. Jupiter's strength is not great for me. But my sixth lord being exalted and looking back at the sixth house indicates that in 1 week, I should maintain my daily routine and system in a way that provides me wellness, because this house is not just about diseases. It also relates to how well we discipline ourselves. So, in that regard, we should give marks to Jupiter. I hope your doubts related to the sixth house have been cleared regarding whether the sixth house and its lord should be strong or not. Do share your experiences. What have you seen in your charts? How has the sixth house or its lord affected situations, either negatively or positively? Thank you so much.